Welcome to David's Rebel Coding Podcast. We're going to look at the easiest way to make a website in 2026. So let's say what a web developer really wants to do is they just want to define their JSON like this. So let's say we got data title, we print out the title, and then we got data articles, and this will be your JSON. Here I've just got a headline for breaking news. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to create a Financial Times like web application, so a newspaper basically. We're going to publish it. So here I've got my dynamic title that has been defined, and I'm just expressing it in my template. So this harkens back to the days of desktop publishing and the newspaper business. So to loop through an array of JSON objects, you could just use this map function. And the syntax is a little grueling, I admit, but what this will give you is, if I remove this part, it will give you the breaking news. And it's dynamic in the sense that if we add another attribute to this, so uh, we could say another headline was like war breaks out. So there we've got our two headlines displaying on our page. So basically we can wrap them in divs or li items like this, and then we can create a list. So then we can just play around with CSS and HTML. And actually you could do this pretty much right in front of your clients if you were a consultant, and you could just like storyboard with them. And it's kind of a cool way of doing the web application because you've broken down all the boilerplate code, so you don't have to write all this heavy Java, and you've got this light declarative syntax that's native to the JavaScript language. You don't have to learn React. You don't have to learn new syntax. You can use on-click. You can use any JavaScript that you would normally use in writing JavaScript. And so you're just focusing on the appearance and the way things look. And what you get out of that is you get an application programming interface that's hosted on Google Cloud Services and backed by Java, deployed with Apache as a proxy server protector to Tomcat. And then so you have network security, scalability, and you're backed by the most trusted internet company, Google, and you're using IBM best practices, not Microsoft best practices. So you're going to be ahead of the game. Now, the price estimates that you would normally get for this style of web application design would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I'll just show you, like, what if it were actually this sort of this easy? Like if we could just let me see if I can go in. And so I might, or if I want to create the database, what I first need to do is grab I need to grab a bunch of data. So let me do that first just to show you. So back in the JavaScript, I've already created the database, but if you hadn't previously created the database, uh, you could do so like this. So I'll show you how you can create a database. So here I'm just going to get the existing database and output it. So let me look at my inspector and see if I can copy this code into memory so that we can output this for you. So how do I do this? Gotta find it. Just give me a second here. Let me just put something more description in here. So this will be our FT database. And then let me inspect. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to copy this object. So copy the object and see if I can paste it in here. So let the database equal, it's going to be db.data. So what if it were this easy that, let me just essentially nuke the database. I'm also going to, because it just uses the first record to let me pick a longer record so I can get the right, get a long field for the summary. So I'm just going to reorder these. And now, what if it was this simple? You want to create the database, so let me open up MySQL just to show you. So I'm going to open new tab, use newspaper, show tables. And if I run this, you'll see that we've got the Financial Times set up. But what if we didn't? And to set it up was this simple. You could just write await auth manager dot post MySQL your table name. So here we'll do Financial Times, and then you just pick the JSON. So here we want to create this as a table. So I'm going to go db.data, and these are my JSON objects. So it'll create a database if I just go db.data. And if I save it and look back at MySQL and show tables, I should look for something called Financial Times. Now, if I describe Financial Times, you'll see that indeed the database was created. Unfortunately, the summary is not long enough, so I'm going to drop the table, drop Financial Times, and I'm just going to make the first one for the summary, use a template literal here. And that way I can add breakpoints, and then I can make it longer. So it needs to be over, I think, 1,000 to be a long text. So I'll just make a long. If I save it and then show tables again, describe, we're looking for, just try that one more time, drop, run it again. Let's look at it, show tables, describe. No. Let me try one more time. If I drop, oh, it didn't drop it, that's the problem. Drop table, Financial Times. No, if I save it, and then describe it, you'll see that we've got our long text in our summary. So we've just created our unique database for dynamic data and populate it with some seed data from just a mock newspaper that we've created. If I select, you'll see that we do indeed have data. Now, I can then get rid of all of this, just this setup code, so we're done. And now for get, I'll just go get that data. I'll say Financial Times. And now this will give us access to our application programming interface, which will be able to sort, filter, and select whatever data you want from the database. So then what we want to do is we want to figure out how to bind this to our template. So let me just reorganize the data slightly, just to make it easier to sort by the groups. And then I have to close a couple things down here, find a window here, and then I'm going to follow this little algorithm and create a set of grouped articles. So there's getting the data. This was our test. So let me remove that. We're done with that. We got our data. Then we just need to refactor it into the column type so we can display the data in the newspaper in the right way, and then we just bind it to this data object. Then what we could do is use that map function that we talked about earlier. So if I go back to the HTML, let's switch this out now. And that's also, before we do that, I'll just grab the CSS style sheet so we can style this thing. And then basically you work with your design department, create your styles, and then we'll jump in. And you could have Gemini or Google AI build a template for you. All you have to do is bind your JSON articles, and this allows you dynamic JavaScript functionality where as you're looping through, you can go ahead and add functional logic to your presentation layer. And if I save this, you'll see that we instantly have a newspaper, and it is data driven, which means that you'll see that none of the data is hard coded. It all comes directly from the database. So that means you've got a distributed $180,000 product that you're able to create in around 10 minutes. So if I do a select from Financial Times, I'll just show you that it is indeed dynamic. So where I see the title here, let me just update this record. So if I update Financial Times where ID equals this, I will set the title equal to, let me just copy this. I'm going to say David from the central bank signals an extended hold on interest rate. So if we can get this query to change the data in the database, then when we refresh the newspaper web page, essentially, you'll see that it gets updated directly from the database. So this is just proving that the data is indeed coming from Oracle backend hosted on Google Cloud Services. It says David from Central Bank signals an extended hold on interest rates. So you can integrate with other systems, backend systems. There is a policy security file, so you can have the auth manager that gets the data in this front end can be read-only and won't be able to change the database in the back end. So you can write applications in JavaScript that are powered by Oracle and Java in the back end, and you can do it very quickly. So in this example, I don't know how long this video has been running, but it's like under 20 minutes, I would say. We've essentially, if I just look at the cost estimate breakdown, it's estimated that an application like this would cost the range of, at least $40,000 or something like that. It's crazy because I would just show you the code when you write actual Java code to make this work. It looks something like this. So let me just show you a little example. If I can find just basic Java code, looks like this. And you see it's kind of crazy. It's like, you almost need a degree. You have to go to school. You have to learn all this. And then you have to figure out how to do things best practices, do it the right way, do security. You have to map all your objects, your domains, this is why it costs $100,000. It's like, this is what I call boilerplate code. It's actually not contributing one iota to the success of the project. It isn't providing any business value. It's purely plumbing just to get the technology to do what it was sort of designed to do. And nothing is ready out of the box. And a lot of software systems and stuff are Obviously, you can buy components that help, like Spring Boot and Hibernate, things like that, which is what they assume the tech stack was built with. And so that's why it costs so much. And then here's a breakdown of the different types of. So we just did designing JSON and a REST API endpoints. So we just saved you $15,000 in 20 minutes. And then we did the back end development. So we've already done this. So we saved you another $50,000. Again, what's our time worth? I mean, every minute is what, $10,000. So you're going to be way ahead of your competitors if you just pick up a system like this. And then we've got the HTML. I had Gemini AI produce the template in literally seconds. But this is for the front end integration, so we need the REST APIs. This is where things get expensive. We have this built in. So right now, this is operating from a REST API. So if I were able to inspect and then show you, you would see that we already have a REST API. So you can skip and take whatever records you want. So like if I only want one record, and you can sort by any field and filter and get the data that you want specifically just from a query. And then that way you can use it directly in your JavaScript. So this system has been built better than React, and it using native vanilla JavaScript. So there's no learning curve. And it's got an online integrated development environment that actually saves the files locally on your in the edge. It's called the edge computing. And then you can push it to the cloud if you want, and then sync it with a distributed team. So if you're working in a bigger team with other people, you can just push this code to the cloud, and what it does is it will sync with the source control, and then detect differences in the code, and then it will be able to. You can coordinate with teams of people as you're developing. So let me try this one more time. Oh yeah, there it goes. So we just synced, and then you'll see an icon when you upload it. It'll say that you just pushed it to the live server, and then part of your distributed team, if you're working remotely, will be able to access the file and download the data to their local storage. So that's basically how it works in a nutshell. And you can see that there's just like in the whole enterprise stack, you've just eliminated all of the corporate overhead. And so I made this video just because I used to work for a bank, and I was trained by IBM, so I learned the right way to do things. And I noticed that all the tech companies and stuff almost seems like deliberately obfuscate the truth and make it difficult, and they put up barriers and make things overly complicated. Everybody is controlling their fiefdoms, and they want to lock you into their technology platforms by making it impossible to do it any other way. And then they shield the technology from the developer even, so that you have really no idea what's going on under the hood. And this way I just restored everything back to the native Java, the native HTML, the native CSS. If you think of it like writing assembly language, essentially, the fastest way to make code run on the web is to boil it down to simple vanilla JavaScript, HTML and CSS. And when you're pushing HTML from server-side technologies or running in PHP, you're going to run into code that's going to run slower. Java's the fastest web technology because it's pre-compiled into bytecode, so it's almost as fast as C. So it's lightning quick, and it's kind of an industry standard. IBM is a giant in the consulting world, and they use Java extensively because it is the best web programmer and programming language, and I noticed that IBM and Google like to avoid Microsoft. So people that know anything about actual web application development are avoiding Microsoft, and they're going with a better alternative. Now, you saw the code. It was a nightmare looking. So the trick is basically to minimize the amount of Java code you have to do and eliminate the boilerplate coding, and then just get into business. And if you do that, you can literally have solutions up and running as fast as you can make templates. And don't you want to be in control of your own code base, in charge of your own application development? When you let AI build stuff for you, it's, be honest, I've been doing this for a couple of months, and you almost go a little bit nutty, a little crazy, like what AI kind of loops they put you through, and you're never going to understand what AI is producing. And then you're going to build your business and trust on something nobody understands. And then you're going to leave it up to these tech geeks. See, it's part of a, they've invested $1 trillion. They're going to want payback. And by obfuscating the truth and making things so difficult to understand, you are essentially surrendering your freedom for corporate giants that it's disruptive to our freedoms. So I'm making this video because I wanted to show you that you can do all of this in like 10, 20, 30 minutes. And why not? Like, why would you pay so much money just for the trust? Sure. You've got this audit trust breakdown trail, and you've got these $1 trillion companies backed by the product, but still, you're a company trying to make money. Why do you want to pay so much? You can have this exact same thing, exact same technology. And to be honest, when I worked for these big corporations, a lot of people that work there don't really know what they're doing either. Everybody's guessing, and you have to look it up. So everybody's just like, yeah, you're backed by the name. You got the certification of Microsoft or an IBM, but you're just kind of poking in the dark like everyone else. And then when somebody wants you to do something, yeah, they'll tell you the right way to do it, but you still have to look it up and figure out how to do it. And people make mistakes. You ask AI to build parts of it for you. That's what they're doing. Everybody's kind of guessing and just remove the guesswork and just work on your templates. Work with your customers. Don't spend $185,000 on these big name. It is when you can get the same thing for almost free, like literally 20 minutes. Look, let's just look at our website again. This is the static one. This is the template that I asked Gemini to build for us. And then this is the dynamic data-driven one that you just saw it here live. We just built it from scratch. Hello David World. So you have full access to the tech stack, and then you can access the DOM as you would normally, and just write normal JavaScript code, so you can do whatever you want. Microsoft used to lock you in their Microsoft controls, and then you lost touch with the DOM. You couldn't do anything anymore. They've since improved a little bit with MVC, but they're still kind of outdated. So the modern hip way of doing stuff, and you want to use Java, which is the best. Why not use the best? Here it is. So you saw it here first. And so if you like this video, click like and subscribe. And there's your $185,000 solution in 30 minutes. And most of it's just me talking. If you're actually just paying attention and working, just focusing on the job, you probably get it down to 10 minutes. So anyways, we'll see you in the next video. And yeah, it's good talking to you. So bye now.